I know that by now all of you are ready to get back to business, to see our schools open, to see our businesses open, to come back here to the sheriff's office and have us talk to you in person. But right now we can't do that. So tonight we're going to do this virtually. Trish Kukufka will be here in just a moment. She has some great information on scams. I'll come back later in the video and share some thoughts with you about how we're doing our responses and the equipment that we're using to keep our deputies safe.
Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us virtually. I wish we could have you all here with us at the Sheriff's Office, but just like the Sheriff said, we can't have everybody here due to the virus. So hopefully we'll be able to get you all back in our building for our meetings, and I did hear maybe Willie said he would cook for us over maybe one of our next meetings. So you will see him here in just a little bit. I did just make that promise for him, so we'll hear from him soon. I did send out the call stats for everybody, so if you have any questions on those, please don't hesitate to ask me. If you did not get your call stats, let me know so I can send those out to you. Or, like I said, if you have any questions on any types of calls that have come in, please let me know. Just a couple of things that we need to go over for our meeting before we get into all the different coronavirus scams and stuff that have been circulating, not necessarily in our community, but across the United States. Remember, as we are finishing out the coronavirus and COVID-19 virus, hurricane season is looming. So we know that that starts on June 1st. We need to be prepared for that. Start thinking about it now in your downtime during the virus while you're at home safe. Think about your preparations now, June 1st. We need to make sure that if you have neighbors, yourself, or anybody that you know that will be a special needs candidate, they need to be registering now for special needs. We can't have registrations for special needs during hurricanes the night before a hurricane hits. So please make sure that you, your family members, or your neighbors are taken care of, and those that need to get registered on the county website. I will send out that website again for everybody to get that information to register themselves, family members, or neighbors. So with that, coronavirus, COVID-19, everybody's been calling it whatever they choose to call it, but nonetheless, we are all facing the same thing. And you know the sheriff and the community is a big deal to him, and we all have to work together in order to keep each other safe and keep each other healthy.
What we've had to do since the COVID-19 phenomenon has come here to Martin County is we've actually had to build this plane as we fly it. There's no historical basis for what we're doing. We've had no experience. But by now, I think we have gotten to the point where we all feel comfortable. All of our deputies have PPE, personal protection equipment. They have goggles. They have full suits if they need it. We have protocols in place, so that if somebody calls the sheriff's office and wants to report a crime that we're going to go out to, we will ask that complainant, would you please step outside and meet our deputies? Now, of course, there's nothing we can do to avoid the unplanned for encounter, such as a traffic crash, traffic stop. So the deputies continue to take chances every day. They're on the front line, and we're doing the best we can to protect them, and they're doing the best they can to protect you.
We have been in contact with our economics crimes detectives to see if anybody has been a victim of any of these coronavirus scams, or if we have seen any calls come through of anybody who wanted to try and report them. Thankfully, here in Martin County, we have not had any of those people call. We have not had any of those scams come through yet that we know of, and there have been no victims of those scams. But that does not mean that they won't be here, so we want to make sure that we're giving the information out, and you're sharing the information with your family members and your neighbors to help keep everybody safe. The bottom line with scams is we know that if they request a specific type of payment, we know that there's going to be a scam. If they are asking for your personal information, if they're asking for your bank account information, your social security number, we know we do not give that information out. But as these times go on, these scams are more likely to hit our area. So one of the ones that we have seen from the Federal Trade Commission that has been notified of these different scams going on, the first one is the grandparent scam. We know the original grandparent scam where the grandchild calls and asks for help because they have they need money to get home. Well, now the grandparent scam with the COVID-19 is a child or a grandchild saying that they're in the hospital and they need money because they've contracted coronavirus and they need the money to be able to pay for their copay or be able to have a test done. They have to pay the money and they need the money to be able to have that testing done. It's a scam. And we know that when the family members are out of town, we need to make sure that we're keeping in contact with them, especially the grandchildren. Okay, they know that grandparents are more likely to give the money than their parents would. So please make sure that you're in contact with your children, your grandchildren, to make sure that we know where they're at if they happen to be traveling. Be cautious of that scam. That scam is more likely something that we would see here, and it is more likely a scam that the scammers will use. We also are going to potentially see a scam that involves Medicare, okay? Do you want to get COVID tested? Do you want to get tested for this virus? We have the new testing kits available, so go ahead and give us your information and we'll send you those test kits. False. They're not going to be doing that. If you need to get tested, you need to go through Cleveland Clinic, Martin North, and have your testing done. Do not allow some scammer or somebody you don't know calling you randomly to let you know that Medicare has these COVID testing kits available for you. Go ahead and give us your personal information. Guess what? Medicare, they all have your information already, so there's no need for them to call you to get that information from you to send you the COVID testing kits. The scammers might also try to ask you for your bank account information so they can try to deposit your stimulus check in there, okay? We all know that they're not going to call you, the IRS is not going to call you to tell you that the stimulus checks have arrived. A lot of us have already received our stimulus checks if they've come through or not, but we don't need these scammers calling us asking for the bank account information or asking for any type of personal information in order to put those stimulus checks into the banks. Now with that, the scammers know that the stimulus checks have gone in, so make sure you're extra cautious of checking your bank statements, making sure that your bank account information is locked down, that scammers can't try to get in there to steal that money from your accounts. We might see some scammers trying to call local businesses and tell them that they have a loan out for them. They could qualify for a special loan because of the stimulus package. Be very cautious of that as you're answering those phones. And the best thing for you is if you don't recognize a phone number, I tell you guys all the time, don't pick up the phone. Let it go to voicemail. So with that, the only other thing that we see here that will be affecting Martin County the most would be while people are locked down and they're in the homes, they can't go out to dinner, they can't go do the normal things that they would, we are seeing a lot more people out on the streets and enjoying their time outside, bicycling, rollerblading, walking, running, whatever it is that they like to do outside. If you happen to be visiting one of our parks that has outdoor walking or they have trails to walk on, please make sure that when you are exiting your vehicles, you are removing your personal belongings from plain view and you lock your car doors and set your car alarms as you are leaving your vehicles unattended to go walk the trails. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Willie, who has some great information for us. Thank you, everybody.
Animal control is another one of our units here at the Sheriff's Office, and they're pretty much running the same amount of calls that we run normally. We just have eliminated a lot of the non-emergency type calls, non-priority. So barking dog calls and things like that we can handle over the phone, we're going to go ahead and handle them that way instead of risking our animal control officers coming out and getting exposure to other people. Our animal control officers have the same protective gear as deputies, and they actually use it quite a bit, especially when we have these high-risk type calls where our officers have to go maybe in someone's house, in their vehicle, and other places, and could possibly get exposed to the virus or some other type of disease. So all our community events have been canceled here at the Sheriff's Office, and that includes all the barbecues that I usually do. And I know that I cook for you guys at least once a year, and I know that I'm well overdue to cook for you guys. So when we come back in full speed, I'm going to be cooking for you to make up that time.
And up next, we have Carol Ann from the Department of Health here with some great information for you guys on the coronavirus and how to help keep yourself safe, your neighbors safe, and your family members safe.
First, I'd like to thank Sheriff Snyder and his team for the opportunity to speak with you regarding COVID-19. As you know, prevention messages have been ongoing and continuous. One of the main things we want everyone to know is to practice the social distancing. Social distancing really has an impact on decreasing the spread of the virus. Not only social distancing, but good hand washing. Following the governor's Safer at Home initiative. Only going out when you really need to the grocery store, to your veterinarian, to pick up your medicine, things like that. And it's important for those who are 65 and older and have health conditions such as heart disease, lung problems, diabetes, because these groups are more likely to experience a more severe illness from COVID-19. Additional ways to protect yourself are using face coverings, increasing your hand washing on a regular basis, and wiping your surfaces regularly. The Department of Health created a website with a COVID-19 information, including a dashboard that provides case count by each county in Florida. And that website is www.floridahealth.gov. In addition, the state has a 24/7 call center, which is also available, and that number is 1-866-779-6121. Also, if you have any questions, please call us locally at the Health Department, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 772-221-4000. Number 9. Once again, I just want to thank you all for sharing this information and using prevention methods that will help stop the spread of this virus.
Thank you, Carol Ann, for that great information for all of our Neighborhood Watch coordinators. Just want to say thank you to everybody again for watching this video, continuing to stay engaged in your community and help fight and combat this virus. We thank you so much for your support out there. It means the world to us. We cannot do this job, whether it's a virus or crime fighting, without you. And with that, I have no more information for you all. If you need me, you know how to get in touch with me with the emails. But I'm going to turn it back over to Sheriff William Snyder for his final words.
Tricia, Willie, thank you so much. What great information. And I hope you all will take this to heart and remember that we're here to try to help you be safe, but you have to share with your neighbors, obviously using the internet and whatever digital form you have. Remind them, don't be taken advantage of. These are turbulent times. These are trying times. People are frightened, but that's exactly what draws the criminal element. They sense your unease, they sense your fear, and they will come in and take advantage of you. But together, as we continue to walk shoulder to shoulder, I think at the end we'll be stronger for what we've gone through. We will have learned a lot, and we'll get back to business. We'll turn the lights back on full, we'll get our businesses operating, we'll get our children back in school, and we'll all have learned a huge lesson about community participation. And really, isn't that what you all are about? And that's watching out for each other. God bless you. God keep you. And stay safe.